Welcome to Around the Bases, a pop culture and sports podcast with your host,
Charlie Seymour.
and I'm Tim Sternberg. Hit it, Nick. We are back after a 1 week hiatus. How you doing, buddy? What's
Uh,
up?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. A lot to talk about, because we took the week off. There's a lot happening. We have later on in the show, a huge conversation happening about baseball and two particular teams in baseball that we are big fans of. So we have a lot to talk about in that regard. And what better than a podcast that talks all about the Cubs and the Mets? So later on in the podcast, we will be talking all about baseball. We'll also be talking in this episode about the show Got to Get Out that streamed on Hulu. We have that coming up. We are also going to talk about um, the Floor
Survivor and the
finale.
floor.
And coming up right now, we're going to talk about Survivor previously on Survivor. So, Charlie, where did we last leave off in our discussions of Survivor in last week's episode? Your younger memory is much better than mine, my friend. So, what?
Well, it's easier to work backwards.
All
So
right, so we'll start with this week's
there
episode.
were
How
there
about
were
that?
there were nine left. So then before that, was that the double, or did we already talk about the double? There was one in between.
We talked about the double because remember I was talking about how Say kind of you know who you think about the jury. You know who got eliminated?
I do remember it was
Yes.
was her name Chrissy?
Chrissy, and she's
Yes.
talking all about the muscular people. And this is a
She
good preface for this week's episode. So we kind of build up a
yeah,
little bit.
she put a target on herself there, huh?
Dude, you know, listen, Survivor, you'll agree with me. It's all about the time and the place. There's a time and a place for everything. The comments. And if she just waited a week or two, she probably would have had a little bit, maybe not much, a little bit better position in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
Definitely. Yeah, there's too many times people just gotta put their foot in their mouth.
The social game, bro. My God. What is wrong with people? Like, and that goes for this week. I will tell you, so Chrissy got eliminated. Not much really to talk about that week. I mean, it was pretty, I don't know. I don't know about you. I thought pretty much it was a kind of a foregone conclusion what was going to happen with
Yeah,
Chrissy.
it
Sometimes you like wonder.
yeah, it,
Um,
it seems like for a while the one core stronger alliance was just kind of taking out weaker opponents one at a time, and then this week maybe they finally wised up.
I hope so. I mean, from this move, I think they maybe have. I am still concerned about Eva and about what's her BFF? I forget his name.
Joe,
Joe the firefighter. I love them both. Don't get me wrong, and I wouldn't be upset if they won. I'm gonna say that straight out. However, if I'm one of the other players in the game, like a Mitch, for example,
who
uh,
received some votes this week.
he did. Um, I'd be concerned a little bit, because I don't know if I'm playing Survivor, I'm always thinking 2 votes ahead of where we're currently at, and you're never quite safe. If you even if your torch is not the one that's snuffed out that week, it's on the horizon. And I think in Survivor time, what is it like a day or that day? It's like every other day they
Yeah,
have
pretty much every 2 days. Yeah.
every 2 days. I mean, it moves pretty quickly. Well, all right, well, let's lay it out. Who was eliminated? Um, Ironically, David is a theme in this episode of our podcast. We'll talk more about that later on the floor. But David was voted out of Survivor.
You
Um,
could say eliminated.
eliminated. You are it reminds me of the weakest. Remember the weakest link? You are
Of
the weakest
course.
link. Goodbye. So Would you agree that one of the worst social plays I think I've seen in quite a while from David? No
Yeah,
social awareness?
you could kind of tell when he was going on his little rant at Tribal, and then immediately it was Camilla, I believe, who was like, "Oh yeah, but don't forget that all the people you put over there have a vote." His reaction was just like you could tell he had no clue. He had no clue how to read the room, and
None. It's almost like me strong man, you no good. It's like I'm good. And there's no social awareness. There's no listen, kicked ass in challenges. The muscles, I mean,
if
listen,
his
the
legs
dude
don't
is
give out, he
physical,
might still be here.
100%. He's a physical threat, a huge physical threat.
And as you let me know, he probably still have his relationship intact,
Yeah,
at least another week.
you remember he talked on the show about his girlfriend is pending whether or not he wins the show, and Entertainment Weekly put out something yesterday saying that he said that since he didn't win Survivor 48, his girlfriend dumped him. You know what? Probably better for him in the long run because who wants someone who that's what the contingency is? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, no. Um, he was quite annoying to me. I was not a fan of his. If anything, I wanted to kind of be, Cyrano de Bergerac when he's like talking in the person's ear. I wanted to be that person in his ear going, have a social game. Have it. But I have a feeling if I did that, he still wouldn't get it. It wouldn't register.
yeah,
Sometimes stubborn. He strikes me as a stubborn guy. I don't know him personally, but that's kind of the view I have. Um, listen, I'm going to go back to something I said a couple of weeks ago. It's a decent season. It's not one of my favorite seasons of recent seasons I've seen. Last season, it's hard to top, honestly. I thought last season was spectacular. Um, it's a decent season. What do you think?
yeah. Like you said, it's gonna recency bias and all. It's gonna be hard to top last one. There are some very strong competitors, but there were a couple ones where you could tell you were just kind of glad to get them out there kind of quickly.
Yeah. I think this is the season two of, like going back again, sorry to rehash, but the lack of social play. A lot of the folks don't know how to play social. Now, I will tell you who does, who's a master at it and who is doing a great job. You want to take a guess?
Mitch,
Mitch is, but more so even than Mitch.
um,
I mentioned his name a moment ago.
okay, so not him, not him. You mentioned his name a moment ago. So then would that be Joe or
Yeah.
the lack thereof because you didn't mention his name and I told you his name?
Well, you're so
You
fat.
you identified who the person was, and then I named said person.
Wow,
You described
you're
them by their
calling me out like
occupation.
that? Wow, what a friend you are. No, you're
I wouldn't say calling out.
right. No, but you listen, this is the gray hair,
Yeah, him and Eva both have good social games as well.
I mean, look, I'm like, this is a decent dude.
You know,
I would have a beer with him. Like he's cool.
you know who I think has doing a really good job of adapting in the game is Kyle.
Yes.
He's
funny.
he's a wild card to like go all the way all of a sudden. He's pulling off some interesting things that he kind of steered. I know Shaheen, they
He
gave
scared
him
the David
credit
vote.
that he was planting it, but I think Kyle kind of drove it a little bit as well.
100%. You know, I will say Kyle was a nothing burger for me for a good beginning of the season. Didn't think anything of him. The last two episodes, I'm like, whoa. And
Yeah, he turned it on.
his hidden relationship with Camilla, was it Camilla? Yeah.
Yes.
So Jeff, again, Jeff says these little Easter eggs at the beginning of the season. One of the things Jeff said this season was it's a season of the duos, and I see exactly why. You got Eva and Joe, and you got Kyle and Camilla. And from that comment, gathering all the other stuff,
And you've had David and Mary.
I think that's your final four or close to it.
Yeah.
I think Mitch is in the mix for that too. I think that's what we're kind of looking at. I don't think Mitch is going to get voted out. I don't
You
see
know,
that.
that's the thing. If Mitch doesn't get voted out, is he going to win? Is his story better than the others? So that's why I feel like a lot of people
I
eventually are going to
mean,
want to take a shot at him.
he's a man with a disability. He has a stutter. He's very engaging. I find him very interesting, and I
Yeah,
would root for him. And
absolutely. He's
um,
likable for
I
sure.
like very likable. I like his story.
And that's
Um,
just a lot of the
Joe is
time.
extremely likable too, though.
Yeah, a lot. Those are the people you want to vote out on Survivor.
Yeah.
So
Eva, and let's not forget, Eva, super strong, has an advantage, has a hidden immunity. Well, not so hidden, but has a hidden immunity idol.
that may have turned into a double.
What does this sound like to you from last season? Who does that sound like?
Rachel.
Rachel. Correct. I think Eva is in a very similar position to Rachel, probably even a little better position socially in the game than Rachel was.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised in at least if Eva is the winner of the season. I would
agree.
not be
Yeah,
surprised.
I could see
Uh,
her, Joe, Kyle. There's a lot of potential winners there.
I could tell you who won't if I can remember their names.
All right, identify them and then I will tell you their names.
Um, African American woman. Forget her name.
Star.
Yeah, no, she's not gonna win.
Yeah,
Um,
she's kind of on the outs. She was on the three. She was part of the three that voted for Mitch, but
the
David is now out. So only her and Eva voted for Mitch now.
the
So
dude that
she's
the
a
dude that
floater.
won. Who's
She
that
could
dude?
be
Right?
someone who, if it gets to like say five people, they might not want to vote her out anymore because they all could beat her.
This is a true statement, and this is what scares me about this show because honestly, between you and I, is she worthy of winning? Has she done anything spectacular? No. Like you said, a floater. I don't.
Yeah, it'd be tough. It'd be tough, I think, to pull off the number
I
of
don't think
votes
she'll
to
get the
win.
votes. Yeah,
Right, exactly. But survive another week or two and get
she's a
into
good
floater
buffer.
range. Yeah, it could maybe be a potential person to bring with and
And
make
you
the other
know
people do the fire.
what that means too in Survivor Talk is I'm understanding. I don't know officially, but the further you get along in the game, the more money you get. We don't know how much money people get, but it's apparently increases by 10 or $20,000 every week that you survive at this point in the game.
Oh,
So
I
for
didn't know that as
her,
well.
yeah, they get money. They get like 30, $40,000 for just appearing on the show. So yeah, could you imagine? So just moving along the line, and yeah, they don't walk away with nothing. Um,
Hmm.
Interesting. And they
Is there
actually
a
get
threshold to make jury? Like you get X
there
because you left?
is. Yeah, there's from I read something that there's like that's why they push so hard to get to jury because the money does jump from that point. You don't get it's pittance like towards the like the 16th person or however many people they have at the end of the season. That person's like maybe five or $10,000 and like it subsequently gets more and more. It wouldn't even be about the money for me. I would just want to make it to jury because I think that's the meat and potatoes of the show. Like
Right.
nobody remembers the
You want to be
non-jurors
at
this season.
Ponderosa.
Yeah, you do. You don't want to be at the Hilton, getting ready to go out on the airport. Yeah, so I mean, I think we're coming. What are we like? 2 or 3 weeks away
Down
from the
to eight
finale.
people.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think probably I forget when the finale is. I didn't
So
remember,
if you
but
probably, yeah, you're probably right. Probably two or three more episodes before.
yeah. So we'll see how that shakes out in Survivor Land. Even in a mediocre season is better than a lot more stuff that we see.
And
Um,
there's enough likable people still alive in the game where you've got rooting interest.
exactly. Wednesday, May 21st at 8 p.m. is the
Got it.
Survivor finale. So
So
yeah, we have about
21st,
3 weeks
14th,
left.
7th, 1st. So three more episodes and then the finale.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so let's do talk about a finale that just occurred this week.
That was a nice
And
segue.
yeah, see, we're getting there. Um, the floor. Um, wow. I made a comment to a friend today, and I'll say this. I love the concept of the floor. I love the idea of the floor. I found this season to be mediocre. I'm kind of getting bored at seeing Photoshop pictures of staplers and garbage pails and stuff. Honestly, it's kind of boring. Um,
They did have one category that was different, and it's where they were spoken languages that were so hard to hear.
Dude, I would be so. It
That
wasn't
was
good for TV. That wasn't good TV.
yeah, it was a curveball.
Was that good TV? I don't think that was good
Nah,
TV. Nah. Um, I honestly, it's hard to do video and audio clues when you have a timer going.
yeah,
I
that's true.
think if they're gonna make an adjustment, here's my thing. On categories like that, throw the clock out and make it a best 20 out of 30 or something like that. This way we can actually hear the clues and give maybe 5 seconds per clue. And I don't know if they'll even alter that like that, but right now, I will tell you, seasons 4 and 5 are taping in Ireland as we speak for next year, so that is coming back. Um, I was very pleased. I will say found him quite irritating. I'm sure I did talk off the record to a contestant from this season. I've been chatting with them, and I said to them, I go, David is quite annoying to me. You know, he's the Jeopardy champion and whatnot. And I go, you know what? He was really a nice guy. He kept, he read a lot and he kind of kept a little quiet, but he wasn't like that on, when he wasn't on camera. And I get that, but on the show, I don't know. There's something about the cocky intellectual that really gets to me.
Yeah, he played it up too.
Yeah, he did. It was like, I'm on Jeopardy. I am smart. I like I know everything. And oh, get the crown, and I'm gonna be good with the crown. And I'm good, dude. I mean, I understand they love that TV, good TV, but come on, you don't have to look like that. But I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they at least three or four of them were seemed to be gaming, gaining up on him together and
which was
strategizing.
brilliant. It's the first time I've ever seen that on the show, by the way.
And it
Like
didn't seem
actual
to help.
strategy.
He ended up losing on his own in the final three, but
It was interesting though. I see what they were doing. For example, they didn't want him to get the crown category if he defeated this person. So I they were playing defense and I get it. And you're right. It didn't end up happening. I will say this. The floor is a perfect example. I played an online version of it. Shout out to Matt Hunt. Great job. When I played the online version, I can tell you that from that experience, at any given Sunday, to quote a quote, anybody could not do well on something that is like this because
yeah,
not everything, even as brilliant as you are, is in your wheelhouse.
just takes one or two clues to throw you off,
And it takes like losing 5 seconds and the other person gaining it, and then
and then
you're
you
done.
pass. Yeah,
That's why if I ever go on that show, if they ever have me on that show, I would pray that I have a corner like this guy did, which was brilliant. And that's again, another season where the corner wins. And
yeah.
similar corner to season one. I know you didn't see season two. Um, uh, but a shocker, by spoiler, season two did not have a corner win. So there you go.
Oh no, now I'm not gonna watch it.
Darn, darn. I
Yeah.
just eliminated 30 people. But it's not a bad strategy to play off defense when you're on the floor. I will say that I thought the winner was deserving. I found him to be intelligent, engaging the chef. Um, I was fine with either one of them, honestly, at the end.
How
If
did it
they
work out that they got a food category as one of the final three for a chef?
I was like, WTF with that. Come on.
That was
Come
a little
on.
bit teed up there, but then the other guy did
Weird.
have the second one.
Yeah, it was just odd. When I saw, I'm like, really, really, guys, like the whole universe, and I don't know. My suggestions for, I mean, I would keep it more pop culture based or history based, where there are actual pictures of people and places, and less pictures about inanimate objects. There's nothing interesting about seeing a bowl of pasta on screen. Who cares? Honestly,
Different kinds of noodles.
the breakfast, the different kinds of eggs Benedict, Florentine. There's nothing
There
interesting about
and there,
that.
there's still no universal. If they say one word, it's right or not. There was one of them where I was like, how did he not get credit? And it was David, who I didn't even like.
Mm.
And I'm like, how did they not give him credit for that? That seemed kind of rough. It
Yeah,
ended up being moot, and he won that one. But
I was a fly in the wall. I would love to see the game rules. Every game show has rules. I'd love to
yeah,
see how the rules are set in that. I mean, in any game show, as you and I both know, the rules of the producers are final. That's a big thing. That it's kind of an umbrella they use. So it would be interesting to see that. Anyway, good season. I hope they make some corrections, course changes, and maybe ease up a little on the celebrities. Although I have a feeling that's probably going to be even more, because I remember them. Someone was saying in casting that they were looking for like people that have been on reality shows and whatnot. So
like the Bachelor in Paradise couple.
yeah, who I don't know. You watched that? I didn't know them at all. I know you guys watch Bachelor. I didn't know
Yeah,
who that
I
was.
knew who they were. That was the extent of it.
um, the Jeopardy champ, and you know, I mean, if they're gonna have celebrities on, they should at least have former We Are Family contestants on the show. I'm just saying.
Yeah, why
Um,
not?
hello, Fox. So yeah, I can always stick my foot in it and get trouble. I don't care. Um, so let's talk about Got to Get Out. So I'm gonna preface this by saying I my expectations were met. Um, I think it's a good show in its premise. A couple things lacking in my opinion. I think there needs to be some side games in the game that offer advantages, disadvantages within the game.
Hmm.
I
Instead
th-
of random chance by a
Ticker tape.
tipper, yeah.
That's the one thing. I think there needs to be sort of a power player like you have in Big Brother with the head of household winner, or you have on Survivor with the immunity winner. Um, every show, Amazing Race, they all have some kind of advantage or power that you earn. Um, Basically, Got to Get Out from just looking at it. It's really too linear for me. It's you get a ticker tape, either you and it's. I'm sure it was supposedly random, but who decides who gets the thing and who doesn't is weird to me. Um, and at that point, cast some smarter contestants. I mean, I don't, for lack of a better term, you had literally speaking of The Bachelor, you had the Golden Bachelorette in the show, and she
He
gets
was
the
dumb.
first advantage, dude. I got an advantage. I got it. Like, do you not know how to play a reality show?
Yeah, that was really bad. There was no excuse.
Susan. See, I remember
Yeah,
her name.
there was no excuse for that.
What the what?
You know it's bad when you're getting called out by Spencer Pratt for
Yes.
game strategy.
Speaking of which, they had all these really, I would call these high level reality stars, especially more so villains, I will say, on the season. Example, Omarosa and Spencer Pratt. I found almost like they were non-existent and almost like just kind of passing the time and not really themselves. Like we didn't get the normal bitchiness that we got out of Omarosa usually, like we got on Celebrity Big Brother even, or way back when with The Apprentice. We didn't
Mhm.
have that. Like that was, am I right? Like that was missing.
Yeah, it was definitely toned down. I wonder
And
if that was
Spencer
an
Pratt
editing
too can be a
choice.
jerk.
Yeah,
And
and he was, but not that often, to your point. Yeah, it
no,
could have been worse.
he's more like a doofus, like the class clown.
And he was just wearing his wife's t-shirt around all the time for marketing. So,
Like, could we stop with the Heidi t-shirts, please? Um, so all right. What do you think?
what was that?
My mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, sorry. I did a lot of talking. What do you think? What's your opinions?
No, I'm right there with you. There definitely could have been some things. You expect that with a first season. Um, yeah, it's interesting. The one thing that makes it a little more difficult is they're not eliminating anybody. They're just splitting less at the end, depending on it. I would have liked to see it be a little harder to stop them from escaping. So,
Yes.
like one thing, for example, not that it came to play here in this one, but when they hit the button and the gate is closing, like why can't they still like
Slip
snag
in, right?
anybody through? Like just
I
because
think it
the
was a
active
safety
is
thing.
there, like that, I think should be fair game at least. I mean, later on they boarded up all the windows. They did try to make it a little harder, but there's got to be a way to like not have it be a simple touch that button and then you know what I mean? Like there's got to be like a 5 second delay or even a 3 second delay to when you hit the button. Something to
Can I
make it a
piggy
little more fair to get people to escape.
Can I piggyback on that real quick? Because I have something to add to that. I agree with that 100%. What if they do that? They make it harder for them to press the button, but penalty. You were talking just about eliminations and penalty. If you try to escape and you're caught in the slower version, you're eliminated. You're gone. You leave the house. You don't get anything. At least give a penalty to it, but also make it a little harder to get them out.
And if they do that, the risk might be that not
Or
enough
you're
people
locked
will
out of the
try to
house.
escape. Yeah, put them
Or
in
what if you're
jail.
locked out? Right. Some kind of like the birdcage. So dumb. That was
Yeah.
so dumb.
And
Um,
how did they not help keep the bear in there? If it wouldn't have made a difference, but when he had his bear in there for the kill switch or whatever, they they didn't help at all and they pulled it out and that extra 8 to 12 seconds of the buzzer could have made a difference there.
I almost feel like they were building. I feel like they were building a plane in the air, and as they were taping the season, they were like, "Oh, this isn't working. Let's do this." And that's not normally how it's done. I'm sure that's not how they did it. Usually, they have what they call a show Bible, which is this is what's going to happen during, for the producers. So I'm sure that's not what it, but it seemed like it. That's what I'll say. It seemed like they were kind of trying to adjust for things as they were going. It has a lot of potential, the show. Would you agree?
But yeah, I mean, I would be probably, I would say I would lean on the yes side that they'll probably have a second season.
Maybe.
I'd say, yeah, I'd say maybe 60-40, like a slight lean.
Yeah. I mean, it can't. I mean, they filmed it in a mansion outside of Toronto, so it can't be that expensive to film.
Right.
Um, Not like Beast Games, which filmed in like aircraft hangars, and it was looked very expensive to film
Built
in
its own
Toronto.
city,
Yeah, which was
traveled three
awesome.
different times.
Beast Game season two is still casting, so if you're interested, definitely go to beastgames.com and apply. But yeah, I will say that maybe. Yeah, I think your 60-40 is pretty much on the money there.
Yeah.
Not much to talk about, really. It was so at the end, I mean, for folks maybe who didn't watch, basically they split whatever was left and each get like 40 grand, which honestly, and we talked about
Yeah.
this, Charlie.
It was going to be 38 apiece, but then two quit and they ended
Yeah.
up getting 43 and change.
Dude, if you give me $43,000 at the end of a reality show, I'm a happy man.
To live in a mansion for a couple weeks and have all
Yeah,
this stuff.
to have all the food you want and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus, I'm
it's
sure they
not it's
got
not
some
like Survivor.
per diem and stuff.
Yeah, it's not a bad life. So yeah, we'll see what
For what,
happens.
2 weeks?
Did you see though? Real quick, yeah, exactly. Real quick, they did a. I just saw the trailer today for Destination X on NBC. That's a new show coming out. Basically, do you know the premise of the show?
I do not.
Oh, you're gonna love it. So they are all in a they're all in a plane, like a private jet, and the windows are down. You don't know. The jet takes off and flies to a destination. They have no idea where they're going. They're taken out blindfolded and brought to a normal tourist pot that is gamified. And you have to try to figure out where on earth you are, Carmen San Diego, where on earth you are. And basically the end game of each episode is there's a giant map, almost like a pin the tail on a donkey. Each player decides on the map where they are. The player that is furthest away gets eliminated, and they keep playing until they meet the host. And the person who wins and meets the host wins $250,000. And they're
Interesting.
traveling all over the world. Fascinating. A couple people we know are in the show. You ready?
I'm ready.
Peter from The Bachelor, and who is on The Traders, is on the
Okay.
show. He comes in a little later.
Pilot
And
Pete.
yeah, Pilot Pete. And one of our favorite Big Brother players of all time is on the show.
Is that sarcasm or real?
Josh Martinez.
Oh no. Okay.
I wanted that reaction in real time.
That's
Can we
too
not
bad.
see Josh
That's a shame.
Martinez? Can we
That's a
not
shame.
see Josh Martinez on another show, please?
That's a shame.
Well, only thing I remember about Josh Martinez, I remember a lot, but the banging of the pots and that stuff. God. And never mind the challenge.
Just those
How many
two?
challenge episodes has he been on?
Too many. Just those two people
Why?
that we know of?
No, there are others. Let me look and see if I can.
No, but I meant like the people that we
Yeah.
would know.
No, there's others, I think. I think there are. Let me look real quick. Ooh, ooh. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, dude. Okay. Jana, I don't know who she is. Kim, and then a lot of just it's one of those again like Got to Get Out where they're mixing the reality stars with. I'm gonna send it to you on Insta real quick so you can kind of see it. Maybe you recognize some of these people. I just sent it to your messenger on Insta. So Josh and Peter for sure. It's hosted by. Let's see here. So yeah, here's the trailer. May 27th, it premieres on NBC, so Peacock, NBC. And they're calling it Summer's Biggest Adventure. I'm actually looking forward to it. I think it'll be good. So yeah, they're like in the
Let's see.
plane and they get there.
Love Island USA. Yeah, I don't know anybody else from there.
Oof. It's hosted by an actor, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh, I
Who's the
know him.
host. Yes. So
He's in The Walking Dead.
Yes, he was. Yes, that's where I know him from. So you and I will I'm sure we'll talk about. We'll be covering that in our summer slate of beautiful shows, including Big Brother and other shows. So yeah. So speaking of beautiful things, Charlie, let's talk about Go Cubs Go. I don't sing like Shota. I'm
Meet
sorry.
the Mets.
Meet the Mets. Greet the Mets. I literally saw a reel on Instagram today of this dude taking a video in the 7 train coming home from the Citi Field, and he goes, "Meet the Mets, greet the Mets," and the whole train starts singing. And it gave me goosebumps. But yeah, let's talk about the Mets and the Cubs, man. We are a podcast of two fans of both teams. How we doing?
I'd say both teams are doing pretty well.
Pretty good. Yes, I'm ready for that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, let's do that. Pretty good. Wow. Folks, the Cubs and the Mets are in first place in their respective divisions, folks. The Mets currently have the Mets currently have the best record in baseball.
The Mets have been so hot. They may have only lost like once or twice since we last recorded, which is like almost 2 weeks.
So hot. Didn't the Cubs sweep the Dodgers?
They
Didn't that
did.
happen?
The Cubs did, and they won 2 out of 3 in LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm seeing stats, the Cubs are the biggest predictor of winning the World Series. What? What?
Yeah, that was baseball references.
What?
Yeah. That's, I think, due to the fact that the Cubs have done very well and they've played 80% of their schedule against the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Dodgers. They're literally done with all three of those teams for the entire year, and it's still another week to go of April.
How's God blessed us this year, my friend? Well, listen, speaking of big teams, the Mets swept the Phillies, the second
Yeah.
place NL East team. I
Who
mean,
I would you I for a moment there I thought you had jinxed the third game of the series, and the Phillies came back, and I'm like, oh no. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, worst case, at least the Mets would still win the series, and then the Phillies won't be on a huge losing streak coming to play the Cubs next. But here you had to go win all of them because now we know there's no way the Phillies are going to lose
no
six
way.
in a row. No way.
No
They're eventually
way.
going to come back to earth, like probably tomorrow. So
They're gonna win in
we'll see.
Chicago against the Cubs, there's no way. But it's funny you said that because as soon as I typed that, so in a text to Charlie, I said, "Can we talk about how bad the Phillies are playing?" And they ended up tying up the game. And Charlie's like, "Could you have waited a little bit for
Yeah,
that?"
you couldn't have
Um,
waited till the game was over to wake up that Philly offense. But yeah,
um,
the Mets have a 5 game lead. 5 full
Unbelievable.
games on the Phillies already. That's impressive.
This is without, by the way, this is without Sean Mania. This was without Jeff McNeil, without Francisco Alvarez, who are both coming back, and the Mets optioned to AAA once again Brett Beatty and once again Hayden Singer.
And they
Oh,
optioned Beatty after he hit that second level tank shot against the Phillies.
so here's the deal: if I'm Brett Beatty at this point, I'm begging for a trade. I'm begging for something because honestly, he will never get the time he needs unless somebody else gets hurt, and we don't want that as a Met. He just won't. He won't. And it's not, I'm sorry. I know they say, oh, he needs to play every day. I get it. I agree. But AAA isn't it. AAA pitching is not it. It doesn't do him any favors. He ends up, I'll tell you straight up, he ends up being a beast at AAA. He kills it because it's not, he should, any other team, dude, he'd be in the majors, like especially the Marlins, right? If he was on the Marlins, he'd be playing every day in the major leagues.
Yeah,
Um, and
he needs
and
the reps,
he's
that's
on
for
the
sure.
Mets. I think listen, I'm not. I saw something during spring training. He basically passed by some kids and he just ignored them, even though they were like, "Please, Mr. Beatty," and it left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm not the biggest fan of his. Um, but for his sake, he needs the reps. He needs to play every day in the majors, not in the minors. Why couldn't they? I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't send down Ozakar. I don't understand why they had to send Beatty down after that.
Yeah,
Everything I'm reading is the fans are like rare Stearns L, rare Stearns loss. Not a good move. So
yeah.
it reminds me,
They that must be a now that McNeil's up. Listen, Beatty, we know you're gonna not get any reps, and we don't want you sitting every day. Stay hot, and then we'll call you back up in 2 weeks. Who knows?
but at this point, it's been like 2.5 years of this. I mean, if I'm
Yeah,
Brett
I
Beatty,
know.
honestly, I'm over it at this point. I'm sure he is.
He could be a good
Um,
change of scenery guy.
I think so.
Sometimes you just wish him well.
This reminds me of way back a couple of year and a half ago when we had I forget his name. I think I psychologically blocked it out, but the big dude that nobody wanted on the team.
Vogelbach.
Thank you, Vogelbach. That for whatever reason they kept having him in the lineup. It's fans were screaming, "Send him out, DFA him, etc." And they kept putting him there. And I don't know. And honestly, we'll see how McNeil does. I mean, the one thing. I mean, I'm not a not fan of Jeff McNeil. One of the issues I have and always have had with Jeff McNeil is he has a very short temper and he's not the greatest guy in the clubhouse. And it makes me a little nervous with the chemistry we have going on with him kind of coming back into it. And I was kind of perturbed too by him going on DL and seeing him play golf. Like, what the heck is that? Like, what is that about? Um, yeah,
Hey, if
yeah,
he comes back and hits, we'll forget about it quickly, right?
right. But if he doesn't and he causes issues in the clubhouse,
Then Beatty will come back up, and they'll give
he's
him another phantom injury.
I know him and Alonso are very good friends, and I'm sure we'll see how it goes. He seems pretty negative. So let's enough about my
But
team.
yeah, but hey, they're 18-7, and let's make sure that we when we finish on the Mets that we do finish with the fact that they're 18-7, best record in the game. What they just had a perfect homestand. They're 12-1 overall at home, lead the league in pitching
Also,
without Maya.
fellow Mets fans, real quick, can we stop at the tweets about David Peterson and everybody else being horrible? Are we kidding here right now? We are in first place. Stop tweeting about Juan Soto not performing up to level. Are you kidding me? Any other team would want Juan Soto performing at the level he's currently performing at. Stop it. Enough. Stop correlating how much he's getting paid with how much he should perform. He's a human being. We're still winning. We're still doing great. He's still performing excellent, in my opinion. Can we stop with that nonsense, Mets fan base? Like, I don't get it sometimes. It
That
drives me insane.
it's every fan base, honestly. It's every
Oh, the
fan
Cubs
base,
have that too.
unfortunately. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. It was pretty recently too. I sent it to you, right?
Yeah.
It was yesterday or the day before. It was I'll find it. I'll find it. I don't want to
While you're
give it a
finding it, while you find out, I want to say real quick, there was a video I just sent you today of Justin Steele literally hanging onto
yeah,
his television watching.
watching
That's
the Cubs come back.
that's legit. That's legit, dude. That's legit.
Yeah, here's the tweet. It says, which has like thousands of views and likes. It says baseball fans watch 162 games per year and are completely furious the entire time.
It's so funny.
So
Listen,
true. I can't tell you how
I'm
many
guilty of
times I'm
that.
answering messages about negative things when I'm like, they just won another series. Like, good, my God.
Why aren't people ever happy? Honestly, and listen, the Cubs, like you just said, the Cubs just beat some of the best teams in baseball, and they don't have them on the schedule anymore. They're done. Give them some credit. I
Yeah.
mean, my God, your team is legit. Like, it's not a joke anymore. It's not like, oh, maybe they're just playing. They didn't play the Marlins, like you said, right? They didn't play the White
No.
Sox. They played the freaking Dodgers. They played the Padres. They played the Diamondbacks. I mean,
And the Rangers.
and the Rangers.
They've played
Uh,
one team only that does not have a winning record, and that's only because the Cubs swept them. They have a winning record against everybody, not the Cubs. So that shows you right there.
and it adds a layer. For me, the most anticipated series of the year is now
Cubs Mets.
100%. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
There are two teams that are pretty, in my opinion, right now, pretty even matched, and I think that's going to be a very interesting series, both in Chicago and in New York. I think,
Yeah.
wow, we're going to see
Should be
some
fun.
interesting games.
Should
Yeah,
be fun.
we'll see.
Yeah, you got there's some you've got, between the Mets and the Cubs and then obviously the Dodgers and the Padres. Giants are looking very tough. And then the Phillies and the Braves are gonna win games. So there's gonna be a lot of teams battling for only 6 spots.
Braves have a lot to come back from though, because I mean, Acuna is going to come back, of course, and you're going to have Strider come back. I think and they're digging themselves a little. I mean, they've been doing a little better, but they've been digging themselves in a hole, and they need
Yeah,
to
they
dig
started
themselves
0-7,
out of that
but
hole.
they're 10-14 now. So
When the Marlins are doing better than you, I mean, and the Nationals. The Marlins and the Nationals have a better record than you?
They're only half behind the Nationals and one behind the Marlins. By tomorrow,
Yeah,
they could be even with both of them. So
bite your tongue.
I'm just saying. Well, let's not count them. I just don't want you to,
No, I'm not. I'm not
reverse jinx
stupid.
them in the wrong way. I'm just
I know
saying.
100% what I'm dealing with the Bravos. Don't worry.
Okay.
I get it.
Okay.
100%. And same with the Phillies. Like I legit thought, when we played the Phillies that we would split the series. I didn't think that it would. And we still have to go to Philadelphia to play. And I mean, you know how toxic that environment is, at Citizens. So
Well, you
we'll
you
see
get the
how that
Nationals
goes.
next, so that should be nice.
That'll be a nice little break. Wow.
Four
Um,
4 games.
listen, I mean, I don't want to listen back at this episode in a couple months and say how cocky we were. It's just enjoyable for us to be in this position where both of our teams are successful. And quite frankly, on any other day, as long as the Mets aren't playing the Cubs, I'm rooting for the Cubs, and vice versa with you with the Mets. It's a good it's a good day. It's a good day, and it's going to be even better when we're playing each other and we're seeing that, and it'll be even better when we play each other in the NLCS. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
uh,
good schedule. After that, you guys are home against the D-backs, and then you play St. Louis again. So, I
we
mean,
swept the Cardinals too, and you're
yeah,
welcome for that,
already.
by the way. You're welcome.
Yeah. Hopefully, we
um,
can return the favor and take care of the Phils this weekend.
Yeah, and then we'll take care of the Brewers and do that stuff.
I don't know
And
if
the
you,
Reds.
I don't know if you saw. Did you see how the Brewers game ended today? Well, not ended, but the winning run.
No. What happened?
Um, you did not see it.
No.
It was so they lost 6-5 in San Fran, but the
Ooh.
game-winning run, so to speak, I'll send you the video of it. But the game-winning run was a fly ball to left field, and let's just say Yelich did not play it as well as Ian Happ would have played it.
So Yelich dropped it?
He may or may not have dropped a fly ball right to him.
Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't upset by it.
I know. Is this it? What you just sent me?
Yeah, I just sent it to you. It's like just a very quick little liner to
Oh come
left.
on. Oh come
Yeah,
on.
it's
How could he
pretty
not catch
pretty
that?
tough.
It was
And that was
almost
the
like
winning
this.
run.
Like, look. He's like,
Thanks, Christian.
oh,
Push the Cubs
oh.
lead back to 3 games.
I mean, the way you were describing it, it sounded to me like it was going way back, and he was trying to catch it. No, this
No,
is. If I'm a if
I
I'm a
didn't look
Brewer
at it,
fan
but I would guess that that's like a 75% or greater catch probability. It was pretty routine.
and watching Yelich after the miss, he's so lackadaisical, like he doesn't even care. What is that? Like I don't. I'm watching the replay. Yeah, there's no like. I'm gonna go back like a week or 2 weeks ago. There's none of that Ian Happ hustle. That Ian Happ hustle that we
The
saw in that
dive and
catch.
tumble and left.
That's what we should see here, right? Or Mets related. You saw the throw from Juan Soto yesterday to Senga at home plate. I mean, stuff like that. What is this? And for folks that are watching, that I'm going to. There's a clip playing over this. I'm going to be doing that'll show you the play that we're referencing.
And
Um,
knowing Tim, he'll throw the curb your enthusiasm music in there.
no, I won't do that. That's funny.
Bum, bum,
But
bum, na,
wow,
na, 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 na.
it's like the guy on Survivor, Raheem, and he's like,
Yeah, that
"Oh
was that
man,
was not a good play by Yelich. If anyone wants to see it, it was the game against the Giants Thursday afternoon.
if
Pretty
dude,
routine play.
if I'm a Brewer fan, I'm pissed off." Why? Like, I wonder. Like, let me say something. When he got to the clubhouse, there were conversations happening about what the heck happened. Like, what? Like, if I'm
He
another
was getting
player, I'm
happy
like, dude,
feet to
where's your
fire
hustle?
home. Yeah, he was getting happy feet.
you by chance know what his contract currently is? I'm sure he's making a lot of money to not do
Oh,
that.
it was like 180 something million.
Former Marlin. And by the way, the only foul ball I've ever caught in my life was off of his bat.
188 and a half.
Wow. 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 I guess he had somewhere to go.
And as you know, he's not been the same the last couple seasons.
No.
Well, just as food for thought, they're paying him 24 and change million this year. They owe him 24 million and change it next year. Then in 2027, they owe him 23.945 million. 2028, they owe him another 23.89 million. And then they have a mutual 2029 option for 20 million in his age 37 season. Gonna go out on a limb and say that doesn't get picked up, but
Yeah.
you never know.
But you know what? I mean, I'll say this for you. Keep playing like that, Christian.
Yeah, hey, take it.
You know what?
3 game lead. Let's
I
go.
you know, listen, it's ununderstandable, not understandable necessarily why I don't like the Brewers because listen, they don't play in my division. But I will share, and I'm sure I've said this before. They are one of the most obnoxious teams that I know. I mean, they're loud and they're obnoxious. And Reese Hopkins annoys the crap out of me. I don't know if it's a leftover residual of him being on the Phillies, but I don't like that team. I don't like the Brewers, and I was very pleased. I'm sure you were too when the Mets beat them last year with that Pete Alonso home run. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'll say about that. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, I think we covered it.
I think we did.
Extend Kyle Tucker. Extend Pete Crow Armstrong.
That's another thing I want to talk to you. So real quick, Met fan threw up a question. What do you think the chances of the Mets getting Kyle Tucker next year? And I go
I
next
saw
to
that.
none, next to none, next to none. I honestly, I know the Cubs don't like to spend money, but I see them spending money on him, and I think they're going to sign him. I think the chemistry is just unbelievable with him that they can't afford not to sign him. I think you're going to have him as a long-term Cub.
I hope so.
And PCA, absolutely. Why? What are they doing? Don't let PCA get to the Pete Alonso point. Don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
and the Mets.
speaking of Mets Twitter, I saw a guy post I can't remember how he worded it, but he said the death of me is going to be knowing that this team is just a Pete Crow Armstrong away in center field from being the perfect missing piece or something like that.
Like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you know I love Pete. He's where he's supposed to be. But the Mets are doing fine without PCA. We don't need PCA to do better. I that's the thing. And we talked about the fan bases. Some fans are just never, ever, ever happy. They're almost eternally miserable. And you could literally win the World Series, and it's almost like remember this SNL sketch Debbie Downer. There's always something that they have to bring up, like, oh, we could have done this, and we could have this person, and stop, enough. Just enjoy the game, enjoy baseball. It's beautiful. It's a summer almost, and hot dogs are hot. The beer is cold. It's a game. Wrigley is a majestic place. Citi Field is a majestic place. Enjoy the fact that you're able to see game-winning baseball because I can tell you straight up, my ass in South Florida is not really seeing that right now. But yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. No,
I
yeah,
must
yeah.
have. I
No.
must have for your tweet, or you didn't, so it must have been me. Yeah, we might have a little technical difficulty, folks. If you missed that little segment, you didn't miss much. It's okay. I was just talking about how you just enjoy the majesty of baseball. This it's almost the summer. Like I told you
Yeah,
in the
and it's
text,
April.
right? The hot dogs are hot. The beer is cold. We have baseball upon us. We might not have it next year.
Be
Enjoy
there
it.
again Saturday.
Enjoy it. You're going to be there Saturday.
Yep.
So, who's signing? Hawk.
Andre Dawson.
The Hawk. God. I'm envious. I'm envious that you get to just
And
whenever you want go to
Clark
Wrigley
Wrigley
Field.
scoreboard bobblehead.
That, by the way, I know I don't have to tell you this, but get there super early because the interest I'm seeing on the internet for that is high, like huge. People
Oh
are
yeah, we'll
really
be there when gates
into
open.
that one. But
Yeah.
dude, that bobblehead is legit. That's going to be a good one. Yeah, I've told you this. I'm jealous of the fact that you just get to drive down to Wrigley and go to Wrigley. I mean, there's nothing better.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, buddy. Until next week. Hope you have a great week.
Stay hot, Cubs. Stay hot, Mets.
That's it. That's Around the Bases, the pop culture and sports podcast with your host.
Charlie Seymour.
And I'm Tim Sternberg. What you just said. See you next week. Bye, everybody.